Welcome to the Hollis Chapman Show, where we celebrate the power of words and the beauty of storytelling. Join us every week. We have conversations with authors and small business owners. We have exciting lineup of guests who will take us on a literary journey like no other. Join us as we delve into the world of authors and small business owners from diverse backgrounds and cultures, each bringing their own unique perspective and voice to the table. From thrilling memoirs to captivating fiction and business startups, our guests will share their stories, their struggles, and their triumphs, offering us a glimpse into the rich tapestry of human experience. Immerse yourself in the magic of words and discovery as we explore the global literary landscape together. So grab a cup of tea, cozy up by the fire, and join us on this adventure of a lifetime. The Hollis Chapman Show is your ticket to a world of imagination, inspiration, and enlightenment. Don't miss out on the opportunity to connect with some of the most talented and compelling voices in literature today. Tune in and let the journey begin.
Hello and welcome to the Hollis Chapman Show. I'm Hollis. I'm glad to be here this Tuesday. How's your week going so far? Ours is going great. Got some guests lined up. So hopefully our guest calls in because this is his debut poetry book. I mean, you're writing novels, you're writing fiction, nonfiction books, and then you have a gentleman who's writing poetry. How hard is that, right? So hopefully he calls in so we can get this discussion going. But here's another tidbit about our special guest who's calling in. As he was growing up, his father was military, American military. His mother, Japan. So he's half Japanese, half American, Jewish. He moved 14 times before he was 14. Imagine that. I guess as a younger age, 5, 6, 7, 8, it's kind of exciting, kind of cool. But as you get into your teenage years, it's kind of frustrating because you meet friends and all of a sudden you got to go. You meet friends and you got to go. So that makes it real hard. Now, I've heard stories, seen stories before, especially for females, where it's hard to get friends. And all of a sudden you got to move. You got to move. So we were asking about that. So hopefully he calls in. But he's writing his poetry book. He's promoting his new book. Like I said, he lives in New York now. So he'll be calling from New York, hopefully. But his poetry has been published in numerous publications. So that's exciting. Like I said, born in Tokyo, a few years after World War II ended, he grew up under the strong and cultural lineage of a Japanese mother. They're very cultural strong. I lived in Japan for 6 years, because I was in the Navy. We were in the USS Blue Ridge, so that's pretty cool. So we understand that about the culture of Japan, things they do and things they've done for years and years and years. So Japanese mother and his Jewish American soldier father. In his first 14 years of his life, he lived in 14 different places, like I mentioned. Eventually settled in Petersburg, Virginia. Okay. He graduated with a BS biology degree from College of William and Mary. Great school. After serving a volunteer in Peace Corps, I guess you'll learn a lot there too, being a volunteer. Plus, moving around so many times, we learn a lot. But how did he get in poetry? I mean, I know you can probably write a biography, you can write a fiction, nonfiction from all that travel and all that experience and stuff. But why poetry? What made him click with that? So a little bit, talk to him about that. He further honed his poetry through residencies in Foundation in Venice, France, Virginia's Center for Creative Arts. Okay, so that's where he was getting his skills from. His different locations. Come on, I'm hoping he calls in. In his late 40s, he graduated from training at Center for Modern Psychology. Isn't that something? Late 40s. Why do you go to school in your 40s? That's pretty dedicated right there, too. Okay. All right. Our special guest is here. Sweet. Okay. Like I said, we have a special guest here. It's his debut poetry book. It's awesome. Let me say a little bit more about our special guest. Like I said, he moved 14 times before he's 14. Awesome. Japanese mother, military father. So that's part of the moving. Okay, so let's welcome our show. Without further ado, Mr. Ronald Lieber. Hi, Ronald. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, but I do want to let you know I have a slight bit of nausea.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's
Okay.
it's it's dim, but it's there.
Okay. I understand. It happens. Things happen.
And I
I
also want to just because I like to go professionally by my full name, which acknowledges my Japanese heritage, which
Oh,
is
okay.
Ronald Okuaki Lieber.
Sweet. Ronald Opiaki Lieber. Okay. I'll say that
Okay,
once because I'll mess it up. So I apologize
yeah,
for that.
no, that's fine.
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. I
Sure.
mentioned, yeah, as I was waiting for you, I said some things about you, stuff like that, as you came on. So please tell us more about yourself, the best you can, and your new book, sir.
Well, it's not easy talking about myself other than the rehearsed speech,
Yeah.
uh, part of which is I did move a lot.
Mm,
Uh, my father was in the military, an oddity in the military, the U.S. military, because he was of Jewish descent, and there are not many Jews in the military here in America.
yeah.
So, so I had a Jewish father, and then I had a Japanese mother, and this was, you know, in the aftermath of World War II. So I do wonder what it was like growing up with a Japanese mother
Yeah.
who had once been the enemy, so to
Yeah.
speak, and what kind of vibes may have come my way, uh, which I can't parse out from just living.
Yeah.
Uh, but I did move a lot, and I'm pretty sure it was 14 times because I remember going over with my sister
Mm,
trying to map where we live because moving every year, I think it produces has an effect on the mind,
sure.
and it kind of can disrupt memory, and so it's hard for me to actually, to remember all the places I lived. But I'm
You know,
pretty sure we once mapped it out.
Ronald, I mentioned a little bit earlier about maybe when you're having fun, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's okay, no big deal. But as you become a teenager, this becomes very stressful because you want to meet. It's very important as a teenager to have friends and hang out. You can't do that. So kind of share that side, especially with you had a sister too.
Right.
How that conversation go to you and your sister going? Oh, geez, we got to move again. That must be so stressful for everybody, right?
Well, what you said is very true. It was easier, the younger I was, the easier it was to integrate among, local social
Yeah,
uh, situation. But the older I got, it became harder to break into social groups. Uh, and in my family, I have the story that I was the one who expressed the outrage and anger about having to
mm,
move. Because I do remember one time just destroying my room. I was so pissed off.
mm,
I said, not again. Because I don't know, these are words, this is a story, but the experience of having to, I've been someplace, I'm settling in,
yeah,
making friends, and boom, got to do this again. Not fun.
yeah,
But I managed, you know,
yeah.
I, I I managed in the way that I did, but I could see it, breaking a person's character
Yeah.
or soul or something, because it's tough.
Yeah. I grew up in Plattsburgh, New York. It was back in the day at the Air Force Base there. And we got really friendly with some of the guys there from sports and stuff like that. And all of a sudden we get the word that, oh, they got to leave. So that kind of, even as the person who lived there and had friends who were in the Air Force Base and who moved, that kind of broke our hearts. It was like, oh,